ever seen that meme of a Cheeto holding like it's two little holes in a door, and the Cheeto is holding the door closed, like it's a latch lock?
I understand. I don't think I've seen it, but I think I can picture it.
Yeah. So that is the integrity. The Cheeto is the integrity keeping the Pac-12's door closed, but it's there. The rest of the conferences have just slammed through the door, and the Cheeto has been eaten by the dogs.
Cheetos is gone. And on that note, welcome to the Fourth and Long-Winded Podcast. This is episode number 17. Cody, how are you doing today?
I am ready.
You ready?
To stop being busy.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say you're ready to talk Heisman watch list.
But... I mean, I am, but I'm also ready to just go into a vegetative state after my wedding.
You got the honeymoon planned out?
We're working on it.
Okay. All right. Well, like I teased, we're going to be talking Heisman today. We're gonna go over our favorites, kind of long shots, maybe some other stuff. But first, let's get into some of the news items from the past week. Start with your favorite college football coach in the world, Mack Brown. He lent some of his comments to the ongoing conference realignment. Saying, quote, mega conferences, unquote, are coming, and he worries for schools that aren't going to be involved, which is really kind of what Cody and I were saying. Mega conferences are coming, and if you're not in one, you're kind of going to get screwed. So go listen to our podcast on that if you want.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty appropriate comments. Yeah.
Well, North Carolina is probably, it's like, that's one of those schools that kind of teetering on the brink of like if they would be in one of these mega conferences or not, I feel like.
I mean, I think North Carolina absolutely has to be in.
For basketball, definitely 100%, but
I feel like the basketball carries it's like one of those programs that the basketball team carries the football team. Like right now they have some success. They've had like limited success or like a certain amount of success over the last like 10, 15 years. It's been historically not great, but no, I mean, it's a program that the athletic department just brings in millions of dollars. So like on that alone, they should be in.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about schools like in the ACC. I'm more worried about schools like NC State or or
Virginia,
Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Like those are the schools in the ACC that I'm worried about more than anything. But,
fair enough.
I still think that we're gonna see some weird shit happen, and I don't know what it's gonna be.
I agree. There's more to come for sure. The big news of the week is Nebraska has been under investigation for several months now. For improper use of analysts during games and practices, as well as unauthorized workouts before last season during which violated COVID protocol. I read an article about it. Apparently, the analysts on staff are not permitted to be on the field during practices or on the sidelines during games. So that seems to be where the infraction happened.
So I don't really think that this is that big of a deal, if we're being honest. However, if you're going to cheat, you should win. And Nebraska doesn't do that.
They do not.
They're not doing that.
No, they haven't done it in a long time.
So here's my take on it. I think they should fire Scott Frost.
Oh, okay. Just use this as an excuse?
For two reasons. One, he got caught cheating.
Yeah.
Two, he cheated and didn't win. Like, you're Barry Alvarez and you do this shit? Whatever, we don't care.
Yeah.
Because you're fucking winning.
Yep.
That being said, I did a little bit more of a deep dive on this.
Okay.
And apparently, I somehow...
You got some inside information?
I don't know how reliable it is, if we're being honest. I've seen some rumblings from some Iowa reporters.
Oh,
So like some Iowa reporters and some like Iowa super fans. So like take it with a grain of salt, but there's some stuff in the message boards that's basically saying that this isn't the only place that Scott Frost is cheating.
oh, okay.
Apparently, and this is I haven't like independently fact checked this, so this hasn't been reported widely. But apparently, Scott Frost's wife has taken the kids back to Florida, and they are living in Florida now. And apparently, this is due to something. There's like a bar in Lincoln where the coaching staff would go after games, and apparently
Oh,
some like brothel like things are happening after
Lord.
the games, and Scott Frost was partaking.
Oh, my Lord.
So like, I don't know how real that is.
If it's
I
real,
just think,
that's pretty awful.
yeah, it is. And there's some real rumblings. Like I've probably seen 4 or 5 different like from different places
Yeah,
that are kind of independently saying like
the same
this
thing.
might come out.
Yeah. Maybe,
Um,
maybe like if the Nebraska administration, like the AD, knows about it, maybe he like leaks that, and then that's like part of the
yeah,
reason
well,
to
and,
get
and
him out of there.
I'm not super familiar with the Nebraska program. So like they name dropped like a bunch of people that were also involved in this thing
Like
that
assistant coaches and stuff, or
like yeah, and like I don't
is
know.
the AD on it in on it too?
That's the thing. I'm not familiar with the Nebraska program. There was
Gotcha.
one particular name that the way they talked about him, it like, yeah, that might be the AD because they were talking about him as if they really knew him. And it's like, do you really know the assistant coaches at Nebraska?
Yeah,
If you're Iowa, probably not.
yeah.
But you know who the AD is.
I don't know who the AD is.
Well, if you're an
I
Iowa fan,
yeah
you should hate
yeah
Nebraska.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. Like,
Well,
I'm not.
that's some if nothing else, it's some juicy gossip here on the Fourth and Long Winded
I know,
podcast. I
right? I
mean,
love the college football message boards just for that reason. It's great.
hey, you heard it here first. If ESPN reports that in a couple weeks, like you heard it here first. All right. I don't know if you have anything else on Nebraska. If not, we can move on.
I have nothing
Um,
else on Nebraska except I'm disappointed.
yeah, yeah. I think we're all disappointed. We're not angry. We're just disappointed.
Yeah.
ACC has followed Pac-12 and a lot of other conferences, and they announced any team that can't field the required number of players will forfeit the game. So this is, I think, probably most every conference will have a rule similar to this by the time first kickoff is here in just 10 days or so, 9 days.
This isn't
Yeah,
surprising to me.
no,
Uh, I've seen some like college football writers like really disappointed that these conferences are being so strict and not being willing to be flexible with these games. And it's like
we saw
one,
how that worked last year.
we saw how that worked last year. 2, shut the fuck up. Get your vaccine. Like these kids, there's no risk to them to getting the vaccine. Like I'm sorry, get it. That's the way I feel about it. If you
Yeah.
disagree, stop watching.
Or keep watching and just hate watch us.
Yeah, you could hate watch us. That's fine. Like leave us shitty comments.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll give it a
but
little heart. It's a
it's
sarcastic heart.
it is what it is. There are consequences to your actions. Like okay, you make the choice to not get vaccinated. Okay, that's fine.
These
That's
are the
a
rules.
choice.
These are the rules you have to follow now. Then.
Yeah, you have options.
Yep.
And then 3, the conferences are going to be flexible. Like if it's Clemson and they've had 2 games canceled and they're undefeated, they're going to be flexible with that 3rd game that might get canceled.
Bet your bottom dollar they'll do anything they can to get Clemson in that ACC championship
So like
game.
the idea that they're not going to be flexible is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like it's They're
Well,
going to do what they
they're going to
can
be
with their money.
flexible for
Clemson,
yeah.
they'll be flexible for Ohio State.
Yeah.
I don't think the Pac-12 will be flexible. I think the Pac-12 is the last conference with like any sort of
leadership
balls. Frankly, that just hasn't sold out entirely. Like, don't get me wrong, they've sold out, but I think the Pac-12 still like has like just like its integrity. But have you ever seen that meme of a Cheeto holding like it's two little holes in a door, and the Cheeto is holding the door closed like it's a latch lock?
I understand. I don't think I've seen it, but I think I can picture it.
Yeah. So that is the integrity. The Cheeto is the integrity keeping the Pac-12's door closed, but it's there. The rest of the conferences have just slammed through the door, and the Cheeto has been eaten by the dogs.
Cheeto's gone, dusted.
So, yeah, that's my take on that.
I love it. I think that's enough said right there. All right, we'll move on. We've been talking a lot of NIL deals recently. I don't know if you saw this very fun one. Alabama defensive back Quincy Kool-Aid McKinstry. I butchered his name, but he signed an NIL deal with Kool-Aid, which is pretty cool.
You didn't butcher the important part.
Nope, I got the Kool-Aid part right. That's all that matters.
Yep.
Finally, the last thing I have is the first AP poll of the season has been released, and I wanted to run through that real quick. Of course, Cody and I did our own power rankings in our most recent episode. Go check that out if you haven't listened to it yet. But here it is. Number 1, Alabama. 2, Oklahoma. 3, Clemson. 4, Ohio State. Georgia. Texas A&M. Iowa State. Cincinnati. Notre Dame. So Cincinnati's going to be higher ranked probably going into that Notre Dame game. North Carolina, 10. Oregon, Wisconsin, Florida, Miami, USC, LSU, Indiana, Iowa, Penn State, Washington, Texas, Coastal Carolina, Louisiana, Utah, and Arizona State. What are your initial thoughts on that?
So, one, I think Penn State should be closer to like. I think personally they should be higher than Indiana.
Okay.
I for some reason I want to say 12. I know when I did my power rankings, that's not where I put them, but I've done a little bit more research on Penn State, and they're looking like a very good team. In my opinion,
they should be pretty good.
I think they could be pretty good this year. And then I'm a little bit confused that Liberty got left out.
I would have taken Utah out of there. I don't know why Utah's in that top 25.
Utah should not be in there. Well, so someone ranked Utah like 6th. And
was it a Utah fan?
They must be in the comment. I honestly, the guy who voted for Utah to be like 6th is definitely the guy in our comments that has been trolling us about Utah.
Saying Utah's going 12-0.
100%. Like, okay.
We'll see. Say so. We're going to look like real jackasses at the end of the season. Utah's 10-2 and in the Pac-12
I'm going to pull a total Donald Trump. I'm going to be like, it didn't happen.
What are you talking about? Just delete.
They lost all of their games.
Delete.
They were terrible.
I was going to say go back in the past, delete the videos, act like it never happened.
No. I'm just going. Their schedule.
Just blatant, disrespect. Just no, you didn't win a game. I watched. You didn't win a single game.
I am going to gaslight the shit out of Utah fans.
That's great. That's great. That's going to be an ongoing theme for as long as the show goes. Is
for the rest of my life, I am going to remember that.
Yep.
All right. In talking about it, I have. So this is how I kind of set mine up. I have my Heisman favorites. So like the people that I'm pretty sure at least 3 of the 4 that I have here are going to be sitting there in New York. And then I have my Heisman long shots. So it's people that I actually think could win it if like the right circumstances happen. Then I have my dark horses where it's like, I don't think this is going to happen. However, it could.
It's like a step down from long shot.
yeah, it's like that step down from long shots. And then I have my players that I absolutely know will not win the Heisman, but I think you should look out for them because they're going to be entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I have a similar setup. I have favorites, and then I kind of have three new faces that are kind of unknowns. They're expected to be in the Heisman conversation, but we can't guarantee it. And then I kind of combined my long shots and dark horses into just
Okay.
long shots.
So,
But
all right.
so you want to start with the favorites, get the obvious ones kind of out of the way.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to list my four.
Okay, probably the same four I have. I imagine. Go ahead.
So I got Sam Howell,
Okay.
to Eric King,
Yep.
DJ Uiagalelei.
Okay, I have him as one of my unknown new faces. So like,
Okay.
he's only started 2 games. I have Bryce Young in the same category. Yeah, theoretically
Okay.
they could
That makes
be
sense.
Heisman, but I haven't seen it yet, and I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
A lot of
Right.
stuff. C.J. Stroud.
I've seen more of DJ than I have of Bryce
Yeah,
Young. So
yeah.
like
C.J.
that's
Stroud,
why I have him up there.
the Ohio State
And
quarterback.
then
also
I have
falls
Spencer
into that.
Rattler.
Yep, that's
Okay.
the headliner. Spencer Rattler is the leading candidate, and he should be in first place until he really has a bad game or
Until
something like that.
Oklahoma loses to Kansas State in week
Yes.
3.
Yep. And he throws like 3 picks, and yeah. Yep. That's how
And
it's
they
going to
don't
work.
realize that they're losing until the third quarter.
I think Sam Howell is in a great position, though. I think with the way that North Carolina offense can score, and with him being possibly the best quarterback in the country this year, I think he's the main competition to Spencer Rattler coming into the season. And then I'd probably put De'Aaron King in third place. And then, like I said,
Yeah,
those new quarterbacks are kind of wild cards. I don't really know where to put them in that conversation yet.
I tend to agree with you, and I have Spencer Rattler kind of fourth on my list.
Okay.
Um, I watched all of his games last year, and I just wasn't that impressed with him. Sure, don't get me wrong; he's an extremely talented quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. But like on the level of like players that I'm thinking Heisman candidate, like his performances last year, and I get he was a freshman. I understand that. Just didn't strike out to me and being like, wow,
That's a
this guy
Heisman candidate. Like,
yeah. Like he didn't have, because when I think of a Heisman candidate, I think of a guy that's going out there leading the team. And
well, see, I even compare him. Like, I think what we're doing with putting him as the favorite, or the national consensus is that he's the favorite right now. Is Oklahoma quarterback, athletic, great arm. I think we're just thinking, oh, it's another Kyler Murray, it's another Jalen Hurts, it's another Baker Mayfield.
Sure.
And
the thing is about Spencer Rattler, like I have this idea with Heisman quarterbacks that they're like the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
Like when I think of Oklahoma, I think of Baker Mayfield. That's the first person that comes to mind when I think of Oklahoma, and so like face of a franchise.
Yeah.
So I just don't have that with Spencer Rattler yet. Me personally. I think he's an incredibly talented quarterback, and if they're undefeated at the end of the season or going into week 10, he's going to be in that conversation.
Yeah, I agree. I think the favorites are kind of cut and dry. So,
and I also agree with you about Sam Howell. And that's not just me being a UNC fan. That's actually me saying like
he has a real shot.
Yeah, he has a real shot to win the Heisman this year.
There's one other name I kind of struggled in between favorites and long shots, and that's JT Daniels, the Georgia quarterback.
Yeah.
I think because he plays at Georgia and because he showed great signs at the end of last season, and he was a former 5-star quarterback, like on paper he should be a favorite. I'd think, but I just can't put myself, like, there's something I can't say that JT Daniels is a favorite to win the Heisman.
Sure. Yeah. No. Let's see here. Let me see where he's at on the sports books.
He's like fifth or sixth favorite, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's plus 1,200.
Yeah.
So
he's in that
he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's actually on the sports books ahead of Sam Howell.
Yeah. Yeah, I did note. I see on the sports book. I think I was gonna, at the end of this, maybe we could do like our best Heisman bet. not like the
Sure.
favorite, obviously, but like,
Sure,
and
like who we would bet our
Sam
money on.
Howell would probably be the bet I would take because he's
Okay,
seventh or sixth or seventh in the
okay,
odds, and I think he's
100% the
probably
same.
the second best option right now behind Spencer Rattler, in my
I agree.
opinion.
I agree. All right, so
Let's
Heisman long
yeah,
shots.
this is the fun part. This is
I think this one's a lot of fun. So I have four.
I have a bunch more than that, but I also combine long shots and dark horses.
So probably my favorite long shot is Brock Purdy.
Okay, I like it.
Um, hasn't ever really been like all that pretty.
Purdy. I think that's what you meant to say.
Purdy, but Iowa State is just like this fun raggedy team that if they're like undefeated and Brock Purdy has been like mildly decent for this team, I think that like he's got to be in the conversation.
I think he's got to be a hell of a lot better than mildly good.
I mean, yeah, but like I feel like the rest of the team is just so solid that
I think
he'll get all the attention anyways at Iowa State.
I think his partner in the backfield, Brees Hall, might be. He's like one of the best running backs in the country. It's gonna. I don't know if they'd steal votes from each other if it got to that point where they're both in the same. But
if Iowa State wins the national championship, it's one of them.
Oh yeah,
it has to be.
Unless they split votes and then they end up losing to whoever
it's Sam Howell.
Yeah, then it's Sam Howell.
But all right,
I do like that pick though. Brock Purdy, and I had Brees Hall down too for Iowa State.
Okay.
Those two I think are pretty interesting long shot picks.
You want to go ahead and with one?
Yeah. So this one this is the first one I put down for long shots. It's Mackenzie Milton for Florida State.
Okay.
I think it'd be a great story if he came back and balled out. We know he has the talent. He was kind of on the peripheral of the Heisman conversation in that great season he had at UCF.
If he would have been at Auburn that year, he would have been in New York.
Yeah, he was really, really good. And I think obviously there was a massively traumatic injury between then and now. But, I mean, Florida State's got the talent. It's not likely. That's why it's a long shot. But I think in a perfect scenario, Mackenzie Milton could find himself in New York.
I actually really like that. I considered putting him on there, but I forgot that he played for Florida State.
Yeah, that's the only real knock that makes this a perfect long shot.
So, my next one is Desmond Ridder of Cincinnati.
Fair enough.
I think that if Desmond Ridder plays like he was playing in the middle to the end of the season last year, throughout the entire season, and Cincinnati is 12-0 at the end of going into bowl season, Desmond Ridder has to be in New York.
I agree with that. In that scenario, there's no reason he shouldn't be because he is that offense. He is
yes.
If Cincinnati's going 12-0, he's having an outstanding season, and he deserves to at least be there in New York.
Yeah, at least have the honorable mention.
Yeah.
And honestly, like these Heisman voters, they kind of did something weird last year, and maybe they're going to be like, "Hey, we could do something weird again."
Yeah.
I don't know. It could happen.
When's the last time a Heisman winner was from from a group of 5 school, non-power 5 school? I'm going to look that up.
Ever.
No, I feel like they're
maybe like Army and the 40s.
I mean, yeah.
I think maybe I feel like Tulane might have one, but they were a power at that point in time. Pittsburgh's in a power conference. I don't know. I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, I'm looking through it right now.
So, these next two, I don't have a whole lot to say about them, but like if they have good years, they could be like looking at a like spot somewhere. So Bijan Robinson of Texas.
Yep, I had him down as well.
And John Mechie III,
yep,
a wide receiver at Alabama. By the way, Bijan Robinson plays running back. I don't think I mentioned that.
For Texas. Yep.
Yeah, for Texas. So, I mean, obviously, Alabama, you're going to be in the spotlight. So, like, we could see another Alabama wide receiver go again. I don't think it's going to happen, but he's going to have a good season.
I think, I think that there has to be a pretty big confluence of events that leads to back-to-back Alabama wide receivers.
Yeah.
I am into the 80s without a. There's Notre Dame guys, but I don't know if we're going to count that.
We don't count that.
Okay. Well, I have not found one, and I'm in the 80s.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to find it. It's going to be a while. It's pretty much like an MVP of the national championship game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna stop looking and let's just get back to the
RG3.
podcast.
Like RG3 is probably like the worst team that has like that Baylor team was probably the worst team.
There's
been on in the last 30 years.
Rashawn Salam, who's a running back. He played for Colorado he won it in '97 or '98, something like that.
Okay. Well, maybe that one.
The only reason I know that is because I was just looking through, and I was like,
he takes the worst team cake
because Colorado was in the Mountain West or something at one point, but I thought maybe they were still.
I think in the '90s though they like won a national championship.
They won a national championship.
Like maybe it was in the '80s. Like I feel like they.
1990, they ended the AP Post at number 1.
Yeah.
Won the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, they claimed a national championship that year.
So yeah, maybe.
And there's an interesting documentary on the coach at the time. Something about him being a Christian and people not liking it because he wasn't the coach the next year. I'm pretty sure.
Bill McCartney.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was his last year as coach.
His last year was '94. They went 11-1, finished 3rd in the AP Post, and won the Fiesta Bowl. So
yeah. I mean, good coach of Colorado Colorado.
Yeah.
Regardless, we're talking about the Heisman conversation.
Yeah.
So that kind of takes over my long shots. Now I've got my dark horses, who I just think are just like slightly below the long shots.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put. And this is based off of no research at all. I don't even know what year he is. I just saw a video of him today.
Oh, the USC guy?
Yeah, his name is Michael Trigg. I sent it to Dan on Twitter, and I saw a video, and I was like, you know what? Okay.
I'm telling you guys, USC is going to be good this year. Because one of my another USC guy is another one of my long shots in Kendon Slovis, the quarterback. He could get himself in the Heisman conversation pretty easily.
Yeah, so I we'll retweet that video actually from our Twitter account. If you want to follow us at 4 and Long-Winded.
Yeah, do that, or else I'm gonna come to your house. What?
Oh, okay. All right, then. But anyways, yeah. Follow us at 4 and Long-Winded on Twitter.
So I have 2 interesting Heisman long shots. I don't think that you have put these down because they're defensive guys, and there hasn't been a defensive guy win it since the 90s.
See, I don't have any defensive guys because I know for a fact a defensive person will not win Heisman.
But this is long shots. The closest we've ever gotten since, what was it, Charles Woodson in the 90s?
Catfish guy. Anti-Teo.
No, he didn't win the Heisman.
No, the closest.
No, it was Ndamukong Suh in like 2012, 2011, something like that. He was in. I think he might have made it to New York, but I think it was Ndamukong Suh.
Suh was like 2000.
Ndamukong Suh, he's still active in the NFL. Ndamukong Suh, he's probably like 32. But Ndamukong Suh definitely played like when we were in high school in like 2010, 2011, 2012, something like that.
You're probably right there.
But anyways, so I do have...
Mateo was also in New York, if I remember.
I think you're right, but I don't know.
And that was more recent.
His girlfriend was not real.
Anyways,
All right. So,
okay, go on.
anyways, the two defensive guys that I have as long shots for the Heisman are Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback for LSU. He's the best cornerback in the league. He would have been the best or the first cornerback taken in last year's draft. Would he have been eligible? Um, but he could have a Charles Woodson esque year and win the Heisman. And the
I have
second one,
him on my list of players to watch out for.
okay, fair enough. And then the other one I talked glowingly about in the power rankings when we talked about Oregon is possibly the best defender in the country, Kayvon Thibodeau. I think he could have an Ndamukong Suh esque run and possibly make it to New York as a defensive lineman.
Okay, I'm interested to see if it happens.
They're just like the two best defensive players, but they're like, especially Thibodeau, and like
Sure.
these two are like blue chip talents. Like they're going to get drafted in the top 10 when they
Yeah, right,
when they're
right.
eligible.
All right. So my next one's boring. It's Bo Nix. Um, like if he finally is good, he could win a Heisman, I guess. But also Auburn has a first year coach. I don't know how good Auburn's going to be this year.
We'll find
But
out real
they can
quick. I
surprise
think
us.
they play Penn State early.
I think you're right. But my next one, an interesting tidbit,
Okay.
and this might tip you off to who this is going to be. Did you know that Kellen Mond, that like at Texas A&M, there has not been another quarterback since the Obama administration besides Kellen Mond?
So 2016 through this past year. Yeah, I mean that's 4 years,
Yeah, so this
5 years.
will be the first year that since the Obama administration, that Texas A&M has not been led onto the field by Kellen Mond. And I think that Haynes King, who has not been announced as the starter and is a sophomore, I think Texas A&M is primed to have a wonderful season. And if he is the starter and is in the mix out in November, yeah, we could see him being in New York.
I respect the scenario built. I just if he hasn't even been named the starter yet, I mean that's super dark horse. Like
I know
that's
why it's on my
super
dark
dark
horse
horse.
list.
All right, fair
I
enough.
mean, Bo Nix was on my dark horse list, man.
Yeah, good point. I probably take the Texas A&M quarterback. I don't even remember his name
Exactly. Yeah,
over Bo Nix.
exactly. Yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
I have a couple more in my long shot sec. I don't know how many more you have. How many more you have in your
That's it for my dark horses. I am on to my players to watch out for.
All right, I'll run through my last what I think I have three long shots that I want to mention. Brian Robinson Jr., running back for Alabama. I feel like if you're the running back for Alabama, you're gonna have a chance. Um, Justin Ross, he's returning healthy. He's wide receiver for Clemson. He could have a big year. And then two more, Chris Olave, wide receiver
Yeah.
for Ohio State. I think he could easily find himself in this conversation. And then finally, a super dark horse, long shot, Matt Corral, quarterback for Ole Miss. He actually led the country in total offense from the quarterback position last year.
Yeah.
Really good dual threat quarterback, and Lane Kiffin, he loves him some offense. So if Ole Miss goes 10-2, 11-1, finds himself in the conversation, he could find himself there.
I like Ole Miss. I hope that they find themselves in the conversation. I don't think they will.
I don't think so.
I think the defense there is going to be a little too shaky this
Yeah.
year.
Yep.
Because they were pretty shaky last year, and I just don't think they have quite the talent. But I think next year that we're going to see a step of improvement. But we could see them really improve this year.
Yeah.
So on my players to watch out for, I also had Derek Stingley Jr. I mean, you already touched on that. And then I don't think that anyone left on this list is going to win the Heisman. I don't think they'll even be considered to be in New York, but I think that they're interesting players to watch out for. Malik Willis at Liberty.
I had him as well.
I think that he's an exciting player. He was really fun to watch last year at Liberty, and he's back and he's going to be better. should be. The team itself just should be better than last year.
Fully agree with that.
And then my next one is Ahmad Sauce Gardner,
Okay.
who is the
cornerback
at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I think more than likely he'll be drafted. I don't think he'll be drafted high. But if Cincinnati is hanging around there, if they beat Notre Dame and they're hanging around in November, you're going to hear his name quite a bit.
Yeah. Maybe for what's the best defensive player award? I forget what that one is.
Is it like the Nagurski or something?
Maybe there is no best defensive player. Maybe there's just position groups. But he could find himself in that conversation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's already been named to like a bunch of lists.
Yeah.
Like watch lists.
What's like?
I'm looking it up right now.
All right. I had Malik Willis as one of my no chance, but they deserve to be recognized.
Sure.
Another one I have is Sincere McCormick, running back for UT San Antonio, the Roadrunners. He might be the best running back in the country. Had almost 1,500 yards last year in 11 games, averaging 6 yards a carry. So I think he deserves a little shout. No chance in hell that he's even making it to New York, but
right,
worth a watch.
So it is the Nagurski Award. Is the best defensive player.
Okay.
And currently, I've seen this website. I don't know what it stands for. PFF.
Pro Football Focus.
Oh. They have him Ahmad Sauce Gardner ranked third on their watch list for the Nagurski Award. So
nice.
You can see him pretty far up there.
Yeah.
And then, so my last, how many more do you have?
I have one more.
Go ahead.
It's David Bell, wide receiver, Purdue. Just he's the only good player we have in offense. So
okay, so my final isn't really a player, but more a position.
Okay.
And it's the wide receivers room at Purdue.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah, I had
we did not plan we did not plan this ahead of time. This is the first time that we're sharing our last player with each other.
This is our first time talking about this. So,
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I had the wide receiver room at Purdue. I don't think that Purdue is going to be very good this year.
But David Bell will be.
I think that the wide receivers at Purdue are something that are at least going to. Honestly, it's not going to give the fan base any hope because they're going to be gone next year.
But did you see Rondell Moore in that Cardinals uniform? Oh.
Yeah. I mean,
six touches, like 60 yards in his first game.
I mean, maybe we're going to see someone else in the Purdue wide receiver room step up, and maybe it's going to become wide receiver U or something like that.
That's my hope. Wide receiver U.
Yeah.
David Bell is the next guy getting drafted. Watch out for him and the rest of the wide receivers. Isaiah Zico, I see you.
I mean, he's on my list, so. Well, so that's all I have. I thought this was a pretty fun conversation.
Yeah, it's tidy. This is probably going to be one of our shortest ones yet, other than like a couple specialty ones.
I'm okay with that.
I am too. I feel like this is much more of a good time for us, but. Give us our thoughts. Give us your thoughts. Don't give us our thoughts. We just gave you our thoughts, but tell us your thoughts down in the comments. Reach out to us on Twitter.
Tweet at us. Let us know if we left out your favorite player. Who at Utah is apparently going to win the Heisman according to?
It's the transfer quarterback they just got from Baylor.
Oh,
right. That's the guy, the Utah guy was like, hey, well, we got this transfer quarterback from Baylor. We're gonna win 12 games.
Yeah, I'm also sure that he's probably going to sexually assault people on your campus.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow. He's just Charlie Brewer. That's his name.
Charlie Brewer sounds like a fine individual.
Okay. I got scared. I didn't know what you were going to say. I thought we were going to have to wipe this whole podcast. All right. Let's end this before we say something we regret.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.